Your antivirus is trash. Look, most security software think this game is completely harmless, but the truth is it opens up a backdoor in your computer, allowing hackers to remotely control it. Guys, it is ridiculously easy to generate backdoors and malware that completely bypass antivirus programs and EDR solutions. And if you don't believe me, just watch the rest of the video. And don't worry, we're gonna talk about a solution that you can use to secure yourself and your organizations properly from undetectable threats. In case you're new here, my name is Zaid and I hack for fun. So if you're interested in hacking or bug bounty hunting, then make sure you subscribe and hit the bell so you get notified every time I upload new content. And I would really appreciate it, guys, if you hit the like button and share the video with your friends, because that really helps us grow and provide more free content like this. In this video, we're going to talk about two techniques that hackers are using currently every day to bypass detection by the most famous and popular security solutions out there. But before we talk about how to bypass detection, we need to understand how it works. And there are two major techniques that popular antivirus programs use these days. The first is signature based, and it works by comparing your file to a large number of known threats. And antivirus programs share these databases of known threats. So if your file matches it, it's flagged. If it doesn't, it's not flagged as a threat. So hackers can easily bypass this by making their files more unique so that they don't match any known threats. The second and better and smarter technique to detect threats is based on the behavior of the file, and hence the name, behavior analysis. And in this technique, the antivirus program will analyze the behavior of your file, and if it does anything suspicious, such as communicating with a C2 instance or modifying registry, then it flags it as a threat, even if its code doesn't match any existing known threats. Now, the game that I showed you at the start of the video, as you can see, is able to bypass most antivirus programs in here. And even if we click on the behavior tab, you'll see that it is not being flagged as a threat based on its behavior. But how? Because as I said, this game actually opens up a backdoor in your computer. Well, it's able to appear as if it's completely clean because it is actually completely clean, at least for now. Therefore, it's bypassing statistical analysis because it doesn't match any existing threat, because it's actually not at the moment. And it's actually just a game, a clean game that doesn't have any malware code in it at the moment. And that's why it's able to bypass behavior-based analysis, because if the antivirus program analyzes the behavior of the game, it'll simply just behave like a game. However, just like many other games, this game has an update procedure to add new features, fix bugs, and so on. But an update is simply code downloaded from the internet and executed on your computer. So this seemingly innocent update procedure can be weaponized to download malicious code from the internet, get it executed on your computer, and as a result, gain full control over it, steal passwords, and so on. And this is exactly how this game does it. So this game can remain dormant for months or even years, gaining trust and popularity. And then whenever the developers of the game or the hackers that made it decide, they can push malicious code in one of the updates, allowing them to execute malicious code on your computer and any other person. The shocking thing is, it is very easy to do this these days with the help of AI, with very little or no programming knowledge, as shown in my masterclass. And the thing is, this doesn't have to be a simple game. This could be a popular game or a library or a software that the target is interested in. This is very similar to what happened with the XZ-Utils backdoor, where a trusted developer pushed a backdoor in an update after years of establishing trust, leaving Fedora, Kali, and a few other Linux distros temporarily vulnerable. So that's the first technique. The second technique that I want to talk about today that hackers are using every day to bypass famous and popular security solutions is even scarier because it requires even less skills. So as shown in my previous YouTube video, if you manage to jailbreak a really good AI model, such as the latest version of Google's Gemini Pro, you can simply ask it to generate a fully undetectable backdoor or Trojan for you without even knowing how it's going to do this, without even giving it the steps or the methodology or even the theory of doing this. It'll actually go ahead and create a fully undetectable backdoor or Trojan. And as shown in the video, when we tested it, it actually did bypass most security solutions out there. So that's really, really scary in my opinion, because anybody can do this these days with the help of AI if they manage to jailbreak these AI models or if they use good uncensored models. These are two simple examples, guys, but there are so many other ways to bypass detection. You can hide your evil code inside of an image or a PDF or a Word document. You can use bad USB attacks with mutating payloads. And we didn't even talk about techniques that might require a little bit of low-level knowledge and programming. And that's why your antivirus sucks, because it relies on detection. Therefore, anybody with a bit of skills and patience will be able to bypass it. So it's not really an issue with the antivirus or EDR itself, but it's more of an issue with the idea of using detection for defense. Hackers will always be able to find ways to bypass it, even if it is cleverly based on the behavior of the file, as we saw earlier. A better solution would be to assume everything is a threat. Every file, every process is potentially a threat, and only allow approved or trusted files to be executed. This is the concept or the idea of zero trust, and it's not new. It's existed since almost 2009 or 10, but the sponsor of this video, ThreatLocker, implemented this practically for application security. Let me show you how this would work with the game malware, because it is the more advanced and the better malware of the two. First, even though ThreatLocker is built on zero trust, it actually has a really good built-in EDR called ThreatLocker Detect, with all of the bells and whistles that you'd expect from others. But since our game is able to bypass EDRs, let's not focus on the EDR in here. So even if the game appears completely harmless, ThreatLocker will still block it from executing because it has not been explicitly approved. This way, our system remains secure without having to guess whether this file is a threat or not. We're simply blocking it from executing because it has not been explicitly pre-approved. Now, previously, we said that this malware doesn't have to be a simple game. It can be a popular game or a library or a software that the target might be interested in. So in the case of a good social engineering attack, let's assume that the admin goes ahead and explicitly pre-approves this file, library, or software. Here's where ThreatLocker's ring fencing really shines, as approved applications are placed inside a ring fence or a cage that prevents them from executing dangerous or malicious activities, such as accessing PowerShell, communicating with a C2 server, or attempting to access dangerous or sensitive files. Therefore, even if the game is executed and downloads the malicious update later on, months or years later, when the malicious update gets executed and tries to communicate with my C2 server, ring fencing will simply block it and prevent it from doing this. It will also prevent it from accessing sensitive files or carrying out any other potentially dangerous or sensitive actions. Now, with all of this, you're probably thinking, if you go ahead and install ThreatLocker, everything is going to break in your system because it's going to assume everything is a threat unless you explicitly allow it. And you'd be wrong, because the creators of ThreatLocker are not dumb. They anticipated this and built a very smart learning or initialization mode that will automatically analyze your environment and create zero trust rules and policies. So you won't have to go and manually create them, and you can actually get started very, very quickly. You'll also get a very nice dashboard where you can go ahead and fine-tune these rules or add or edit other rules. And also, obviously, through the dashboard, you'll be able to access all of the other features that ThreatLocker offers, such as ThreatLocker Detect EDR, their network security, and all of the other features that they offer within their security suite. Don't just take my word for it, guys. Go ahead and give it a go. They're actually giving you guys, our followers, free access. So all you have to do is simply go to threatlocker.com/gsecurity, download it, and then go ahead and create some undetectable backdoors as shown in my courses, masterclass, and this YouTube channel, and then compare the results you get from traditional AV and EDR solutions to the results that you get with ThreatLocker, and you'll see that ThreatLocker is going to straight away block the threat without allowing it to even execute. So to sum it up, while traditional antivirus and EDR solutions try to detect threats, ThreatLocker denies it or prevents it from happening. So it's like the difference between having your doors open, allowing people to come in, and then trying to find criminals versus having your door shut, locked, and only allowing people that you trust.